He's gotten second place at the tour stop in Toronto and in Germany, and he got top 4 at the tour stop in Tokyo. His average finish when he makes the top 16 cut of a tour stop is second place. His average finish.
That's pretty good. And he makes top 16 a whole heck of a lot.
5 times so far. The only player in the world who has more top 16s than him is Casey from Team Complexity.
With one more, I believe.
That's right. hunterace on Team Nordavind came into this tournament at the #1, like TJ said, 85 points. Sinto Law, Team Genji, he came in sporting 43 points into this event. So you can see like the tremendous difference of where hunterace has been in terms of his actual performances there. You know, like there's a lot of people I think that play pretty close in quality in like the top 50 players or so. But it's those finishes that's like that little tiny itty-bitty% extra that's setting you apart. And there we get a look at hunterace's road to make it to this stage of the tournament.
Yeah, he took out a lot of people that actually we were seeing in the top, or at least at the top of the standings at the beginning of the day, with Silvors, Bunny Hopper, Insane Thunder Up. We just saw Insane on stream as well.
Yeah, Silvors is in this group as well.
Yeah.
We're in the dual tournament stage, and to cover that a little bit and how it works, the top 8 is split into 2 different groups. They're going to play effectively a double elimination bracket in those, and I'll let you talk about that in a second, but they're going to play effectively a double elimination bracket in those 2 different groups in the top 8, groups of 4. And then from there, the top 2 players that emerge from those groups are going to the championship.
In the light's name.
He double Earthshock the Flame Imp.
You wouldn't?
I mean, I guess.
Look at he's looking at you.
That probably tells Sinto maybe a little bit about his hand. Because that's a Flame Imp. If you have Lightning Storm, you're never double Earthshocking that. So that probably gives Sinto all the read. That Lightning Storm is not there. But that is a lot of respect for that early damage. hunterace understanding that Earthshock can be a tough card to use. Because there's really not that many big silence targets outside of Light Warden. There's not anything that's going to be buffed up really big. He's hoping that he can control the board to limit the impact of Fungalmancer, or at least draw Volcano by then. And he wants to make sure that he doesn't get hit by that recurring 3 damage over and over again.
Yeah, and I want to talk about that turn a little bit too, because you know, what does that tell Sinto Law about hunterace's hand? And in my opinion, it says a lot. Like, one of the things it says to me is that hunterace has something to do on turn 3 that is quite vital. And the 2 things that come to mind for me are Manatide Totem and Acolyte of Pain. So if that's the case, you know, Sinto Law played that Soul Infusion Light Warden about as quickly as you can. You know, if he had drawn Voodoo Doctor in this spot, or he had drawn the Fungal Enchanter, the heal everything that you have for 2, that Light Warden looks a lot better in that instance. But in the instance where Sinto Law played his turn very quickly and he didn't think about what that double Earthshock meant, you know, there's a chance he could have prevented that Manatide Totem by coining out a Happy Ghoul.
That's very true, yeah. That's a good point. hunterace ensuring that he gets 2 draws off or getting out of Soulfire.
Plus, it's going to absorb an attack still.
Yeah. And picks up, I mean, this is I like this hand. He's got Prince Keleseth, which may not be the best tool early on, but it's a tool that allows you to fight for the board, and all of a sudden your Serenite Chain Gangs later on in the game become massive defensive utility.
Yeah, that's a big one, but you know that's a big one for Sinto Law is really what I mean. Like,
yeah,
that's one that hunterace did not want to see come out of the totem spot.
Yeah, I think that hunterace really thought about even just not toteming up here. That's why he took so long on that turn. It was a pretty easy turn.
It's quite common to not totem up with the Shutterwalk Shaman deck too. Against aggressive decks, it's typically not the case. You just want to try to find any utility you can. But I do want to talk about this turn from hunterace here because I thought this was a fantastic spot to just jam the Life Drinker instead. You know, when I've played Shutterwalk Shaman, the biggest problem that I have typically had is just being able to spend all my cards pretty effectively once I have card draw rolling. And since he's got the Manatide Totem, you know, Keleseth obviously is very strong, but I'm looking more towards Life Drinker and then maybe a Farsight or a Lightning Storm at the Keleseth next turn, and then follow up with the Electra and the card afterwards. Now, what hunterace is doing is all the stuff you mentioned, like Serenite Chain Gang now being extremely vital in terms of defense. You know, he's clearly valuing that a lot more than spending his mana in this game.
Yeah. Yeah, going back to your other point, toteming up is kind of just an optional utility for Shutterwalk in a weird way. But with Even Shot, of course, you want to totem up because you have Sea Giants, you have Limited Totem, Direwolf Alphas. But even with something like Volcano, totems can just act as an extra 2 health that you don't want in that health pool on the board.
Talking about Volcano, by the way, that's exactly what Sinto was counting. If I want to encourage everyone, if you haven't watched Sinto Lal play before, or even if you have, watch his camera pretty particularly. He's very open about the way he's feeling about something and his emotions. Like, he has two very famous moments in Hearthstone where he has had the vital card of his deck burned due to hand size. And the rage that is in his heart is shown in his face and the way that he reacts to it. In this turn, that little totem that hunterace made, Sinto spent the entire time counting Volcano and what the math looks like and how can he make it the worst situation possible. And he's found that here this turn.
Yeah, he's willing to give over an extra draw from Manatide Totem in order to protect potentially multiple minions on his board if Volcano goes in his favor. Happy Ghoul is very likely to survive because it's a high health total. It's the least likely to get hit multiple times towards the end of that Volcano.
hunterace now, he's starting to take a deep breath there.
Yeah, I mean, next turn he has Electro Storm Surge plus the Lightning Storm. So that's a big AoE, but he's going into turn 5, which is, oh, wow.
Yeah, honestly, I don't disagree with this either. I think that if you have the Manatide rolling, you should go for the play of just continuing to have that Manatide roll and find the right cards to handle this afterwards. You know, in this spot, if he's lucky enough to take off both these Serenite Chain Gangs, that hamstrings Sinto Lal's progress. And since he's fallen so far behind, it makes some sense because in this situation, even when he sees the Fungalmancer, eventually he has Volcano to back himself up. So he's trying to use his life as a resource to get to these other big AoE points. Now, is that going to work? I don't know, because Fungalmancer came out.
Yeah. And this does delay Volcano, so it was whether or not hunterace was willing to take the damage, but this lines up better with Overload, because if he had played Life Drinker last turn, yeah, he would have been able to probably cleaned up with Electro Storm Surge plus Lightning Storm, but he would have been, it would have been a very awkward mana utilization because he would have floated a mana with the Life Drinker, and then he'd be like 1 mana off on his plays for.
Kind of seeing why I like the Life Drinker on turn 4 now. Like, it challenges the Serenite Chain Gang. It matches the it matches the Light Warden that's on board. The problem is it buffs up the Light Warden. You know, that's one of the reasons he doesn't want to use the Life Drinker in that spot as well. But I feel like getting to the Electra turn was like the most vital positioning, and I think these totems that he's been making have been so slow that now he's just getting supremely punished.
Yeah. Even if you look at it right now, he's staring at 13 damage on board. Even with Life Drinker, he'd go up to 18. So,
oh boy, that's a big draw.
That is an amazing draw.
That saves hunterace a lot of life that he did not have, and now he's found a second Lightning Storm, and he's got both Volcanoes, and he's got Life Drinker with Azola. Like, this is a game I'm looking at, and hunterace is going to be, you know, probably eyeing playing Shutterwalk sooner rather than later, just to be able to get defensive measure on board. So this isn't a matchup where he has to win by going, you know, chain together a bunch of Shutterwalk stuff.
And that is a big risk too, because if he doesn't hit something that he can play on that turn defensively, Sinto Lal was 2 damage off lethal. Yeah. Anything in his deck that deals damage, Soulfire, Leroy Jenkins, or the second Fungalmancer, or Life Drinker, would have been enough to close out the game. That's a lot of outs.
Now, looking at the defensive stuff though, 2 Glacial Shards, 2 Healing Rains, 2 Hexes, 2 Serenite Chain Gangs.
So like, he did have a lot of defensive options, but it was still a risk because he could have at least played around a few of those outs with Life Drinker. He plays his own Life Drinker, all of a sudden he doesn't die to Life Drinker on the other side or a Soulfire because he would have been 5 damage off. But he realized that if he takes and goes down to like 4 health, he wouldn't win anyway.
And now even option with the Electra Healing Rain coming up. I mean, this looks like it might be a full stabilizing point because hunterace draws, you know, a way just to stop the Happy Ghoul for a turn was really the big point of that. He needed to be able to just negate the damage somehow. Now, Hex, I think, was just the best way to do it. But pretty much any of those tools worked.
And that is the 5th card that Manatide has drawn. So Sinto Lal protected his board from Volcano on that one turn where he decided not to kill the Manatide Totem and instead go base.
Glory to the Sindora.
Honestly, I think it's probably still right to not kill the Manatide in Sinto Lal's spot. You know, he needs to just try to race him down as quickly as possible. That's been my highest success against Shutterwalk as an aggro deck, is ignoring their stuff and just going full face. It's, you know, it's quite rare in Hearthstone, aside from, you know, like the 2014 Face Hunter Undertaker days, that you've really just gone face to beat your opponent. You know, Mage kind of does that. But pretty much every single deck wants to fight for board somehow. Scintilla, I think, is executing the right game plan, though. Sometimes it just bees that way. They got the gots, and you get got.
Amen, brother. So Volcano here is still 1 damage off from a guaranteed full clear. If he trades in Life Drinker, there would still be 16 health on board. So it looks like Electra plus Healing Rain to get back up to full health.
Sinto just like,
yeah, Scintilla, he's a very passionate player, as we've seen.
Talking with Scintilla about the bad luck situations you encounter is like very therapeutic, because no matter how bad luck you've had, like I feel like he's got something that's more bad luck. Just every single time.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he's still drawing some gas and still pushing 40 damage this turn.
Yeah, I'm looking at the hand across on the other side, and I think that hunterace just gets out of this. Oh my. So now, 21 health on board if he chooses to trade in these 2 3/3s. That's going to leave some stuff up, obviously. But he's got Sarnet Chain Gang to back that up. He's got a second Volcano. He's got Grumble at some point. Like, it's getting assembled, and the Mana Tide's still there. Now, it's probably not going to be there for much longer, but you know, what if Scintilla had killed that Mana Tide this game? I don't really know.
What if this Volcano clears everything but his Healing Totem and Mana Tide?
It just doesn't touch his own minions.
Yeah. All right, well, that's pretty much the worst outcome. All 3 of the big minions stayed alive.
Well, I mean, your Mana Tide stayed alive, though.
True. Okay, so that's card number, what, 7? Mana Tide has drawn.
I don't think that was that bad of an outcome, honestly. Wait a minute.
It's not quite enough. It'll be 3 damage off.
That's scary, though.
It is very scary.
You don't want to be at 3.
Volcano will clear. And Healing Rain picked up.
Oh my gosh, a huge draw. Now I'm convinced that killing the Mana Tide probably would have been right. I mean,
7 cards.
We've seen 7 cards, and Scintilla has still almost won the game. Like, now I'm looking at it, I'm going, if he'd have killed this Mana Tide, like, it'd be probably over. Like, he probably would have won the game.
I mean, we talk about the Healing Rain being a good draw, but he only has 9 cards left. There's not even that much stuff left in his deck.
That's what I mean. He's drawn 7 extra cards.
Scintilla puts up his hands, but, I mean, you let him draw 7 cards with Mana Tide Totem, that's going to happen.
Is there still hope in this? Oh my gosh!
Those are probably...
Those are huge!
Wow.
Like, hunterace's healing is now down to a Life Drinker. There's no AoE left in the deck. He hasn't seen a Glacial Shard yet, so the defensive measure of Shudderwalk right now is make a copy of itself and Life Drinker. The minions on Scintilla's side are not dying without a Hex. You're staring at 6 damage and you're at 8.
Well, if he hexes here in Life Drinkers, he goes up to 11 with 6 damage on board. He can push 1.
Oh, you're looking at finding lethal.
Because Shudderwalk will have 2 Life Drinkers. Life Drinker's a 4/4, so Scintilla would have to trade in both minions.
He's not going to do that.
He's not going to do that, and he's played both Serenite Chain Gangs. He doesn't have any defensive tools left in his deck.
Does he have a Voidwalker?
Yes. He has a single Voidwalker left.
You know, I'm looking at what are the draws for... Whoa.
Yeah, see, and he pushes down to 6 because Shudderwalk next turn. I don't think there's an out because Soulfire is the only damage left. Fungalmancer's not enough.
Oh, Sinto knows it too. You can tell.
Yeah.
As soon as he saw the second damage and then he saw the Hex.
That's checkmate. He has no Leroy. He has got no Doom Guards in the list. He's got no way to deal the extra damage.
And he's 1 damage off.
1 damage off. He would have been 1 damage off with Fungalmancer or with Soulfire.
Why do you fall?
And Shudderwalk ends the game with double Life Drinker in the pool.
Wow. The Mana Tide that could.
7 cards.
7 cards.
My jaws that bite, my claws that gag.
And Sinto is clearly unhappy. But you know what? There's still more games. You gotta win 3 of these bad boys.
And that's a pretty big win because hunterace's lineup is not favored.
No, it's not. And to give you an idea of how it's not favored, we've been talking about basically the aggro versus anti-control metagame that has really taken foot here in this particular playoff.
Yeah.
And the aggro decks so far have been